We take you into the neighborhood. Pakistan-occupied Kashmir is on the boil, viewers. A wave of protests continues across this region, driven by long-standing grievances over economic hardship, governance failures and demands for political reform. The agitation is largely spearheaded by the Joint Awami Action Committee, which issued a 38-point charter demanding the removal of privileges for political elites, reforms in hydropower, electricity and food price subsidies, the broader accountability amongst a host of other demands. Thousands of protesters, after a clarion call for a march towards the capital of PoK, that is Muzaffarabad, marched on to Muzaffarabad and then other towns also taking to the streets. It's a unprecedented pictures that are coming across of an uprising of the people who seem to have had enough, declaring shutdown, strikes and a chakka jam or a wheel jam. And these actions to try and cripple government functions so that the army, the ISI and of course the Pakistan civilian government finally take note of their issues and pay heed. Now in parts of the region like the Neelam Bridge area in Muzaffarabad, clashes in fact turned violent. Security forces opened fire with reports suggesting that 2 protesters have been killed, while several have been injured. Authorities have also suspended internet and mobile phone services in affected districts. The protests have also erupted in regions like Keran, in the Haltianbala, also Rawalakot, Haveli, Polandri, Kotli, Mirpur and Bhimbar areas. The movement continues to gain traction, with protests being framed not just as economic demonstrations but also challenges to the legitimacy of local governance and demands for deeper structural reforms. The uprising marks one of the most sustained and widespread civil challenges to the status quo in Pak-occupied Kashmir, coming amid the escalation of insurgency operations by the Baloch Force or the Baloch Liberation Army. Now the question remains, is the Munir Sharif regime losing its grip on PoK? And even as we speak and we go across to our guests, there are more updates coming through that even police officers have been now targeted, and the security forces are bearing the brunt of the anger of the civic population there. Let's try and go across to Ambassador Rajiv Dogra joining us, and also we should also have Zahak Tanveer joining us. My namaste to everybody. Thank you very, very much. Ambassador Rajiv Dogra, how would you read the situation? Is Pakistan losing its grip? Is this perhaps the beginning of the process of balkanization of Pakistan? And PoK is just the start, because there is trouble even in the Khyber Pakhtunkhwa area, there is trouble in Balochistan, there is trouble in Sindh also. Ji.
Well, the Pak-occupied Kashmir for long has always envied our part of the Kashmir because of its prosperity, because of its democratic constitution, and because of the fact that people there look so obviously prosperous compared to what your visuals are showing from the Pak-occupied Kashmir. So clearly, this has been a long-standing grudge. And this has been a long-standing demand also that something must be done to maintain its character as Kashmiris and to maintain its integrity in terms of being occupied by Pakistan. Because Pakistan has been settling Punjabis there. And that has added to the resentment. But whether this particular agitation, which seems to be much larger than the previous ones, will succeed in unsettling the Munir regime, I have my doubts, because the numbers in PoK in terms of people are far too small, and many of them, immediately after 1947, people like Nawaz Sharif's family also, Punjabis were settled there, and Mirpuri Kashmiris were transferred wholesale en masse to UK. So that they could be a constant reminder to UK that here is our case on Kashmir. So Pakistan has played its cards very cleverly from 1947 onwards, and which in any case has resulted in further agony for PoK's people.
But where do you see this? Have matters come to a tipping point in this region? Zahak Tanveer, you've also been tracking this region. What is your understanding?
Thank you, Anand, for having me on your show. And this is a very critical and a complex topic which you have picked up. And I would say nobody is actually talking about this topic. And it's very unfortunate that the international community is silent. The Muslim world is silent. Nobody is talking about it. Everybody is concerned about the Gaza. Everybody is talking about the children killed in Gaza, but nobody is actually talking about the children killed in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. In the past 10 days, we have seen the people who were killed, even the small children, the very little children were killed in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa and in Pakistan-occupied Kashmir. And one of the interesting things here is that after the revocation of Article 370, the Kashmir on the Indian side has prospered. The investments have come in. And in fact, I visited Kashmir in 2023 and I've seen it with my own eyes. So the comparison-wise, when you see the Indian side Kashmir and the Pakistan side Kashmir, the Pakistan side Kashmir has been deprived of all the fundamental rights for the past 70 years. And this is what the grudge in those people have been rising for a long time. And as per the constitution of Pakistan-occupied Kashmir Assembly, 12 seats have to be given to the people of PoK, especially the Kashmiri refugees. So the Pakistan establishment has even denied to give them the 12 seats of the Pakistan-occupied Kashmir Assembly. So you see these things are rising up, but unfortunately we see the Western world is silent. Nobody is actually capturing these events. Nobody is talking about it. And everybody is concerned about what's actually happening in Gaza. So they say that the children in Gaza are Muslims. They're dying. Even the children dying in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa and PoK are Muslims. So why no Muslim country is talking about it? So this is a serious concern. And I feel that there will be dominoes effect, which will be happening soon. We see the things are happening in Balochistan. Zubair Baluch and Shahid Baluch were missing, and people were talking about them. They were protesting against the Pakistan establishment about the Baluch activists. And we have also seen the Pashtuns. About 4,319 Pashtuns have been missing, and nobody is talking about them, especially the laborers and the students. Student Pashtuns are missing, especially from the South Waziristan. So I believe there will be a dominoes effect from what's happening right now in PoK, and only God knows what will happen in future.
So, Ambassador Rajiv Dogra, Baloch are not Muslim, Pashtun are not Muslim. Those tribals in the Khyber Pakhtunkhwa region, the Afghans, they are not Muslim. The Kashmiris, they are not Muslim. And that too, which is on a nation that Asim Munir claims has been formed on the basis of Kalma, only nation after Makkah.
Well, that's a very important point your guest has raised, that why is the world silent on human rights violations in Balochistan, Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, and now in PoK. After all, earlier you had enterprising Western journalists like Carlota Gal and so on, who despite all the atrocities on them personally by ISI, went to Balochistan, wrote books there, wrote articles, but all that is gone. So I think it is time that India should step in, not in terms of sending journalists there, that's not possible, but at least awakening the conscience of the world along the lines of what has been said in this program, that here are children who are dying by the dozen, who are deliberately being targeted, like in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa recently, when 30 people were killed in a bomb attack by Pakistani. So I think it is things like this that we in India should take up. After all, both Balochistan, in fact, in 1947 wanted to merge with India. So we have a responsibility to that part, that we must take up the cause when human rights abuses are rampant there, just as they will now be rampant in PoK. So it's not the time to stay silent.
But Zahak Tanveer, I myself am personally witness to the Baloch campaigning in Geneva, right outside the UNHRC. The numbers are mounting. They're now close to 8,000 missing people. You know, Baloch leaders are sought out and targeted and killed, and then their death is passed off as an accident or nothing dubious in Canada. The wives, the children, the sons. There is helicopter gunfire hailed on villages. How is this escaping the notice of the world? or is it just convenient that it lands on the blind spot of the West because the West needs this region strategically?
Yeah, it's the marriage of convenience. This is the marriage of convenience between the West and Pakistan. Since Pakistan is serving the West and is serving the masters sitting in the West, so obviously the West will turn a blind eye to this. You have spoken about the Baloch getting killed in Canada, and I know some of the Baloch, they were killed in UK. Some of the Baloch and the PoK activists were killed. Even the Pashtun activists were killed in Germany and other places. We have also seen these Pakistani dissidents. They are not even safe in the Arab world. Some of them, they are going out for tea or chai or samosa. They're getting picked up, and the next day they are found in Peshawar or Islamabad. So Pakistan operates like a rogue state. It's not a state at all. India is a state. India is a civilized state, and our diplomacy goes in a very civilized way. But Pakistan is not a civilized state. It's a rogue state. So everything it's doing is in a very rogue way. And it's very unfortunate that the world has turned a blind eye. But you can see this interestingly, that a person like Muhammad al-Julani, who was the former Al-Qaeda, the world has accepted him and sitting with him and sipping tea with him, talking to him. So if they can accept his past and move on, then they're okay with what Pakistan is doing to the innocent people inside its own territory.
Ambassador Rajiv Dogra, what should Bharat do? Final word, sir.
Well, firstly, I agree with your guest that West has turned off, it's switched off. It's not interested anymore in human rights and so on, because it does not suit its own interests. It suits its interests in doing deals with a general called Munir, but not what happens to innocent children. What Bharat should do is really something that every one of us has to think of. A writer like me can think in long term of writing books or an article, but that will have a long-term effect. What needs to be done is for media to focus, especially Doordarshan, which has a tremendous reach in India and outside India in terms of viewership. Even the radio networks. I know from personal experience that when Sindh was in trouble, there was a lady in All India Radio who was extremely popular in Sindh and who used to encourage people in Sindh to put up their complaints, and she would respond to them, not in the way of sabotage, but in terms of sympathy. So something like this, outreach to the people, number one, outreach to the world from the Indian viewpoint and from the perspective of those who are being denied their basic rights. I think these two steps by themselves would raise some kind of a conscience somewhere in the world.
Right. Fair point made, Ambassador Rajiv Dogra and Zahak Tanveer. Thank you very much.